strike by New Jersey transit workers that's affecting hundreds of thousands of travelers in the region. Conservative and moderate Republicans in the House are pushing back against different aspects of the Trump budget package. Moderates are concerned about caps on state and local taxes, while some conservatives want deeper spending cuts. Israeli airstrikes bombarded the Gaza Strip for a third night in a row, killing dozens of people. President Trump has wrapped up his 4-day visit to the Middle East and is headed back to Washington. The trip focused mainly on business deals aimed at boosting investment in the U.S. Unlike past presidents, Donald Trump was silent on human rights issues during his tour of 3 authoritarian Arab countries. This is SRN News.
How about this? Some actual good news on the healthcare front, even as costs just keep skyrocketing. So if you're 65 or older, MediShare now offers MediShare 65 Plus. Call them. You can talk to them about this. A lot of people are taking advantage of this now because even if you have Medicare Parts A and B, you know there are out-of-pocket things, deductibles and copays that just keep going up. And the whole point is to help you by giving you a low, consistent monthly payment that fills in the gaps. In fact, I can tell you how much MediShare 65 Plus is. For example, it's $99 a month up to age 75. It keeps costs under control. That helps with peace of mind. MediShare is trusted too. It's been around for 30 years, and it's a community of people who help each other. Business owners, retirees, pastors, teachers. People love being part of it. Here's the number you can call now. They are easy to talk to. Call 833-SHARE-55. That's 833-SHARE 55. 833-SHARE-55.
Here is the latest news and information that impacts you. I'm Derek White. A semi and pickup collided near the intersection of Kansas Highway 9 and 283 in Norton County on May 13th. The driver of the pickup fled the scene, prompting a large search. Norton County deputies, Kansas Highway Patrol troopers, K-9 units, and aircraft responded. After an extensive effort, the suspect was found and taken into custody without incident. Troy Thompson thanked all agencies involved, including EMS and the Lenora Fire Department. Starting May 14th, the Colby Fire Department will begin annual fire hydrant testing, which will continue through mid-June. During this time, residents may notice temporary water pressure loss and some sediment in their water. The testing is a routine safety measure to ensure hydrants are working properly. The Colby Fire Department appreciates your patience in this matter. For more information on this and other stories, visit nwksradio.net.
Rocket 102.5.
Today we'll see stiff northwest winds at 15 to 30, gusting to 40 miles per hour. Skies will be mostly sunny with highs in the mid-70s. Tonight, skies will clear with northwest winds lightened to 10 to 20 miles per hour and lows 40 to 45. Tomorrow, slight ridging will develop, bringing breezy southeasterly winds at 15 to 25 miles per hour. That will evict Gulf moisture into the region ahead of multiple troughs and waves of energy moving over the Rockies Sunday through Tuesday. Skies will be partly cloudy and nice highs around 75 and lows in the upper 40s. For Sunday, the first low pressure system is expected to bring potential for showers and storms east of Highway 83 in the afternoon, wrapping around into southwest Nebraska in the evening into early morning Monday. Highs will be around 80, lows 45. Gusty winds will shift from the south to the north at 25 to 45 miles per hour. Monday, Tuesday rains may miss us to the south and east, but it'll be windy and much colder with highs in the 60s. This is meteorologist Chris Romick in the NWKS Radio Weather Center.
Spring is in full swing at Hoover Lumber Ace Hardware. Get your lawn and garden looking their best with Ultimate Fertilizer and gear up with Eco blowers and mowers for the season ahead. Tackling a project, they've got a surplus of quality lumber ready for all your building needs. And when the work's done, fire up the fun with their wide selection of grills, smokers, and griddles from Traeger, Weber, and Blackstone. Stop by Hoover Lumber Ace Hardware in Goodland and Colby, your one-stop shop for spring projects, big and small.
Get up to $1,000 off your new device at Next-Tech Wireless. Already a customer and need to upgrade? You're eligible for up to $1,000 off too. Choose from the latest devices like the iPhone 16 or the Samsung Galaxy S25. And it doesn't stop there. Get a $100 Visa gift card for all new lines. Stop by location near you today. Next-Tech Wireless, connecting Kansas.
Rip's worn out and it needs replaced. Who you gonna call?
Roof Masters! Roof Masters Roofing at Colby has been your premier roofing contractor for over 40 years, offering free estimates on all types of roofs, as well as seamless rain gutters and vinyl siding. So give us a call today. What's that number, Jake?
462-6642. I think you better call
Roof Masters!
Looking for insurance that actually puts you first? At the insurance agency in downtown Goodland, we're independent, which means we work for you. Whether it's auto, home, crop, or business, we shop top carriers to get you the best coverage at the best price. No pushy sales, just honest advice from people who live right here in your community. Give us a call today at 785-899-5011 or stop by 1020 Main in Goodland, and let's get you covered. The Insurance Agency. Insurance the way it should be.
May is Beef Month. Hi, this is Jill at the Farmer State Bank of Oakland. We are proud to celebrate the hardworking men and women behind one of our region's most vital industries. We see the early mornings, the long days, and the dedication it takes to raise quality beef, and we say thank you. Your work keeps beef on our tables and our local economy thriving. So here's a special salute to you, our local cattle producers, during Beef Month. The Farmer State Bank of Oakley, member FDIC.
Big savings are waiting at Hurl Chevrolet GMC in Goodland, Kansas. Get a 25 Chevy Silverado 1500 with 0.9% APR for 60 months plus $3,500 trade-in cash. Or choose a 25 GMC Sierra 1500 Turbo Max, 0.9% APR or up to over $7,800 off if you own a GMC or Buick. And don't forget, military members get an extra $750 cash allowance. It's happening now at Hurl Chevrolet GMC in Goodland, Kansas. Online at hurlchev.com.
If you're looking for top-notch auto care, JG Tire and Auto has you covered. They specialize in alignments, brakes, and complete vehicle service to keep your ride running smooth. Plus, they offer Toyo and Ironman tires at exceptional prices, perfect for any budget. Whether it's a quick oil change, new tires, or a full repair, Jim is there to help. At JG Tire and Auto, they combine quality service with prices you'll love. Stop by on North Main and Goodland or call 785-890-8473 to schedule your appointment.
You ready? Ready? 1, 2, 3, 4!
It's the Morning Blitz with Ross Volkmer.
Being a Nebraska football fan these past few years and watching this team week in and week out, I kind of compare it to like doing drugs. You know you shouldn't do it, but you can't stop. Kids, don't do drugs.
The region's only local sports talk.
Not this again. Yes, this again.
Broadcasting on Goodland's Rocket 102.5, simulcasting on Goodland's 730 Gold KLOE.
Guy is everywhere.
Discussing it all from the preps.
Brumbaugh fakes the three, fires it from the corner. Yes!
To the pros.
They set up the screen. McLaughlin has it with Miners out in front. McLaughlin's got a first down inside the 10, inside the 5. Touchdown, Denver.
The Blitz is presented by Hurl Chevrolet GMC, Hoover Lumber Ace Hardware, and F&B Bank, as well as the Insurance Agency, Farmer State Bank in Oakley, the Cowboy Corner Express, and Equity Bank of Hoxie, Quinter, and Grinnell.
Let's go to work.
Back safely for Connor. Kyle Connor down low. Ehlers scores! Nikolai Ehlers, a power play goal. Jets take a 2-0 lead, and the power play will continue.
3-2 pitch. Hammered deep to left field. 3-0 Kansas. Ian Francis gets his 6th home run of the year.
He gets a pick from Jokic. Moves off of that. He's at the wing now as Murray. Dribbles through the lane. Throws out of it. Three-pointer Strother. Got it again! Julian Strother in the third. Puts Denver up 8 on a 15-4 run. He gets a high pick from Christian Brown. Another one from Jokic. 6 on the clock for Jamal. He goes to the left hand. He backs up in the paint. Strother layup. Got it again! That's 8 in the corner for Strother. Denver matches their big lead of 10.
Good Friday morning, everybody. Off and rolling on this May the 16th. Glad you could join us here on the Morning Blitz. Broadcasting as always on Goodland's Rocket 102.5, NWKSradio.net. And of course, you can see the smiling faces of yours truly and more on the Hurl Chevrolet GMC video stream on X, Facebook, and YouTube. We got a full show ahead today. We're going to dive into some baseball talk in segment 2. The high school postseason begins with the first round of regionals tonight. Get some thoughts on that with what the Goodland Cowboys, Colby Eagles have in front of them here this evening. We'll also get into the baseball awards. My goodness, a lot of local flavor in the Jayhawk West baseball awards. We'll get to that coming up in segment 2. And We'll talk plenty of other things in segment 3, league track and field updates from yesterday. The Nuggets, as you heard, the highlights there, forcing a Game 7 in the Western Conference, second round? Yeah, semifinals, yes, we'll call it that. Royals and Rockies a day off, and we'll get you an update throughout the show on the PGA Championship, which is underway in round number 2. We don't usually lead off with a guest, but today, because of the work schedule, joining us in studio, Goodland Cowboy assistant golf coach Tyler Jones joins us now in studio. Good morning, sir. How are we doing today? Thank you so much for sticking around. I know you've been very busy. I think they call this, in ESPN, they call it the car wash. You have ever heard of that before?
I have.
They bring in a guest, and they're there in the, they used to do it for college football. They'd bring in all the football coaches, 3 of them at a time, and they'd go through the car wash. They'd be on Get Up, and then they'd move over and be on Stephen A. Smith's show, and then they'd go be on ESPN Radio, then they'd be on an afternoon show, and then they'd send them home. So they called it the car wash. Well, yeah. Tyler Jones is on the car wash today because he was over on the Good Neighbor Hour this morning, and he goes, well, can I just come on over? I'm sure. Why not? We'll make it work into your schedule. So you're a man in demand.
Yeah. Thanks, Ross, for having me.
No, thank you so much for joining us today, Tyler. The reason we want to have you on is because it's a very busy week. I wanted to have you on Monday, but someone said, well, he's going to be busy. So so I guess we'll just have to move it ahead. The reason we're having him on, regional golf is upon us here. It will get started on Monday morning out at Sugar Hills Golf Club in Goodland. How do you, as a coach, feel about the team going into this big opportunity on Monday?
I'm more anxious than anything. I'm ready
I bet money you're more anxious than the kids are.
Yeah, I think so. And then if you asked Travis, the head coach, he'd be probably a little more anxious. But yeah, we're anxious and excited, ready to get it going.
If you haven't been following along all season, it's been a really good season for Goodland Cowboy Golf. They've racked up multiple medals and multiple first place finishes throughout the course of the season, including most recently a GWAC league title over in Colby last week. I got to tell you, the one thing that stands out to me about this season, you can probably expand upon this more, is that you look up and down throughout the season at the final scores, and you're going to see a lot of different guys finishing in the top 2 spots and not just, one guy or, maybe 2 guys that are at the top. Yes, at times you see consistently between Trent Sheldon and Barrett Schlosser usually, but there's some events you see, Luke Thomas be up at the top 2. You saw Blair Lennon do it in the GWAC golf tournament. You see other guys step up. I mean, I'm not just going to say you've played golf a lot at the competitive level, especially at the high school level, and you don't see that all the time. That's kind of a rarity.
No, it's been a long time since we've had multiple guys that could come out and lead the team in different tournaments. And, Barrett's always our rock and always solid. And he kind of struggled on Monday, but, we were still able to get it done with the guys behind him, and they really played well. So it was a lot of fun to watch.
I mean, what do you credit to having multiple guys having just that kind of success?
Maturity, playing a lot of golf. We got 4 juniors on our team and 2 seniors. They've seen a lot of golf. They've played in a lot of big spots, and it's paying off, and we're just rolling with it. It's been a lot of fun.
Where do you think is the how do I want to word that question better here? What do you think is the strength of this team going into true postseason play here on Monday?
It's probably I think a lot of our strength is probably some of our distance off the tee, but then, like I just said, maturity and seeing these golf courses. I think, especially with the regionals coming up at home, that's a huge advantage for us. We're pretty versatile, and some of our kids can really go low when they want to. So it's been a lot of fun.
On the flip side, what are you hoping clicks, that maybe hasn't clicked all year here on Monday?
I hope everybody's mentally prepared, and we talked about Blair. She's playing really well the last couple of weeks, and he's always had that. And getting him mentally prepared for each tournament is sometimes a bit of a chore, but I hope he just kind of stays steady and keeps playing the way he has. He hits the ball a country mile, and so it's been a lot of fun.
Tyler Jones, assistant Goodland Boys golf coach. Once again, golf regionals for Area 3A schools will be over here in Sugar Hills Golf Club in Goodland on Monday. And so that's why he's joining us in studio. He can't join us Monday because they'll be teeing off. So we're kind of getting ahead of schedule here. But coming up on Monday, a very big day here in Goodland with regional golf. And of course, it's been a great season for the Cowboy golf team with multiple top finishes across and having a good chance of possibly, if everything goes according to plan and continue to play well, maybe a chance of going to state as a team and doing that here over the next couple of weeks. I wanted to get into your thoughts on the golf course a little bit here. You say it's a humongous advantage of playing at home, which it obviously is. You should know the course better than any other team that steps on it. You practice there every day. We've talked about this before as the spring is pushed along. How do you feel like the course has gotten into shape, and is it in really good shape, ready for what we're about to have here on Monday?
Yeah, it's in really good shape. Kyle's done a pretty good job of getting everything back from the winter. That's always a chore, and we still got some spots from previous years that are still coming back. But for the most part, I mean, a lot of those spots that aren't in great shape, they're out of range, and most guys aren't playing there. So.
How is the tree situation? Every morning, Raleigh gives me an update on the trees, because he apparently lives in them. And so he goes out there and he tries to say, well, we're out there removing trees. I think he's just helping his own game a little bit there.
They have taken a lot of trees out that have died over the years, and they've added some trees in. And he was talking about a tree on 3, and I guess I didn't see it yesterday when I was out there, but he's talked about the wind blowing a tree over on 3, but then they've gone and planted a bunch of trees behind the backside of number 3, and I'm ready to cut them down. So
we don't need those anymore, guys. Get rid of those suckers. Yeah. So that's all he talks about is, well, we remove more trees. I just think you're just trying to better yourself for your own game. You're just moving trees out of the way. So it works in your favor, Raleigh. I mean, I guess if you're going to go help, you have the power to do that. Tyler Jones joining us in studio here on the Morning Blitz. You talked a little bit ago about mental preparation, and you've played a lot of golf in your time. How would you describe getting in the right mindset for a golf game? You can use your own experiences if you'd like. How do you go about getting in the right mindset, particularly for a high school kid where we all know, we're a bunch of knuckleheads at that age?
Yeah, I was one of those knuckleheads. I think really it starts in the summertime, and it's playing by yourself. Right. And, you're out there walking the golf. I think I talked about this the last time I was on the show, but you're out there walking by yourself. You're trying to play golf, trying not to get into your own head, and you're just trying to, you got a window there where there's nothing really happening. And that's that window where if you start thinking about your score, that's when your score is going to blow up. Right. So in my case, that's how it usually happens. But, just trying to get these guys, they talk about, especially my JV, they're like, well, I had a good group, or I had a bad group, or, my group didn't say nothing to me, or, this kid was a lot of fun. Well, that kid shot 110, why are we talking to that kid? But, and then, it's like, it really affects their round, whether they're having a good time within their group or not. But, I kind of feel like if you're out there by yourself in the summertime and you start shooting really good scores by yourself, there's no reason you should rely on your group to shoot good scores and stuff like that. And so
you really have to ride a fence of being like focused, but also just a complete aloof of the situation.
Yeah.
Just kind of like in your own little world. Those people, they're off on their own little world doing their own thing. You have to ride that fence while also being focused enough to play good golf.
Yeah. I mean, there was some controversy right after the round at the Masters where Bryson said something like, well, Rory didn't talk to me all day. Didn't say one word. Well, yeah, because Rory's trying to win a golf tournament. It's like, you're not trying to be buddies out there. You're trying to beat the other guy. So yeah, there's something to that, I think. And
I think of it like, you want to focus on the shot. Okay, we hit it. And then your mind almost wants to, while you're walking to the ball, if you could just let it wander, into something else, oh man, the Nuggets won last night. Man, I wonder what their coach is telling them today, and you're thinking about, get to the ball. Oh, okay, time to hit the ball again. And then you're like, oh, Man, that's a nice tree that Raleigh planted right there. You know, see what I'm saying?
Yeah, well, Raleigh.
Boy, that's a nice tree they put right there.
Yeah, well, Tiger always talked about whenever he hit a bad shot, he'd give himself 10 steps, and then by the 10th step, it was out of his head. He was on to the next shot, and that's why I tell these guys. There was somebody said a quote, some famous golfer. He goes, "Well, if you're just going to hit the ball hard, and you're going to go find it, you're going to go hit it hard again." And that's what I preach to these guys. Let's just go find it and hit it hard again. See where it goes. So
Tyler Jones joins us in studio here on the Morning Blitz, talking about regional golf as it comes up here on Monday for the Goodland Cowboys and other area schools as well. Colby, Scott City. What is the? I always say that, and then I lose my train of thought while I'm saying that on the mind. But as the season has gone on, and we talk about, I know I was going to go with this. So when you played to what kids are now playing, what has changed? Has anything changed? Like, you were talking about this group of guys is a bunch of bombers off the tee, and I'm not saying that you didn't bomb it off the tee, but really bombing it off the tee has become a bigger thing over the last few years. How far can hit it? And then so you have easier approach shots where maybe 20 years ago, 10 years ago, it was more about hit the shot to the right spot and then play it on. I was curious, is that something that has changed it much in your time, or anything you've noticed that's changed from the previous times that you played in high school to now?
Not so much since I played in high school, because I think, towards the end of my high school career, we were a bunch of bombers too. But, if you probably have to step back another 30 or 40 years when technology really started changing the game to, I got an old set of Wilson staff blades and Wilson persimmon woods that
Woodies.
Yeah. I bought them at a garage sale for $50 last summer, and they got the crappy grips on them or whatever, but I like to bring them out of practice every once in a while. Say, hey, Trayton Haas hit this 2-iron, and then watching them skull it across the range is a lot of fun. But
yeah, I bet.
But sometimes I like swinging those clubs every once in a while, because if you can start hitting, the old persimmon woods square and hitting them straight, or maybe just a little draw, you're hitting them on the screws. When I step back to the new technology with my $400 PXG driver, it seems to go a little straighter. And I think it's, we can go back to some of that old technology, I think, sometimes as a swing aid, and it's fun. I took the JV out after their last tournament and kind of scrambled against them with those vintage clubs, and I almost beat all of them. But there's a couple kids that beat me, and just based mostly off the fact that I don't think I'd ever swung those clubs for a full round. But it was fun, and they love seeing that stuff too. They love that. Hey, coach, you got that laminated wood, or you got that persimmon, or you got that old blade? Can I try hitting that? I said, good luck, boys.
That's right. Good luck. You're going to need it. Yeah, I can't imagine playing with the older skull. Yeah, like I said, it gives you more respect for what the older guys like Palmer and those guys did to win all that stuff with those clubs.
Oh, absolutely.
They had to be more. They had to be more exact.
Absolutely,
had to be more exact.
And they weren't changing drivers every week. They had their old laminated wood, and they played that for 20 years.
That's right. They figured that one out, and they just stuck with it until it broke. That's for sure. Tyler Jones. Joining us in studio here, regional golf coming up on Monday over here at Sugar Hills Golf Course in Goodland. You talked about it. How do you know, like when you're visiting with the guys, you guys are driving somewhere, or they pull up in their vehicles and they're getting out on the tee, but do you just have a sense as coaches, like, all right, today's going to be a good day? You just you can sense, the mental focus is there, all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, with high school boys, it's kind of hit or miss, but I think we had a pretty good idea where the team was at Monday at Colby for league, and we kind of thought it was going to be a good day, and it turned out to be. We may get to the driving range Monday morning for regionals, and it may be a completely different feel, but it still might have the same result. So yeah, you just trying to pull each individual member aside and say, hey, you're good enough. You're good enough to be here. You're good enough to medal. You're good enough. That's what I told Trent on Monday before the Colby tournament. He'd been the, tournaments prior. He'd been just kind of taking himself out of the tournament first 4 or 5 holes. And it's like, dude, you're good enough to win these things too. Let's get off to a hot start, and let's go try to win this thing. And and he was so close. He was I think he had a 5-footer at the end to tie Jackson Rumford and just let it get away from him. But he was leading that tournament for most of the way, and I think just some of that, self-confidence and making sure these guys are confident in their golf swings and making good swings and stuff like that, trying to get away from some of that. But
you mentioned earlier in our conversation about playing in a group, how big of a deal is that, based upon, the group? Well, one guy was funny. One guy didn't say anything, I mean, how big is it in playing in a group like that to affecting a possible outing?
I think it's a huge deal. But at the same time, if you're, focused on your game and you're confident in your abilities, most of the time you're going to be just fine. But, you start sinking back, it's tough in a lot of situations with some of our guys towards the bottom of the roster because they're playing with kids that are shooting in the hundreds. And it's just like, don't watch that kid swing, watch where his ball goes so you can help him find it. But, just, stay to your own game, try not, and it's okay to have a good time and kind of get away from golf between shots, but make sure you're focusing up before the shot to hit a good one. So
that's got to be really hard. if you're playing with a guy that's just having a bad day and he's spraying his ball over and you got to go help him find it, and you got to go, so your focus is more on trying to find a ball somewhere, than hitting your own ball. That's got to be tough. That would be hard. That would be tough.
I've been on both ends of it, and it sucks both ways. So
Tyler Jones is our guest here in studio. Once again, regional golf coming up here on Monday out at Sugar Hills Golf Course. One more on this, and then we'll let you go. But, we talked about this last time. It's always interesting. You got yourself and the Cowboys got a really good team this year. But there's other really good golfers and teams that will be coming to this regional. What do you expect to see out of the competition here that you've seen? Because you've seen a lot of these teams and a lot of these guys play already a lot this season. Because when out here, you play against each other all the time.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I think it's going to be an interesting race coming down to the end. Scott City's been pretty good, and they've clipped us a couple times this year. And then kind of looking outside of the area, you got, Russell is right there in team averages with Scott City. And, so we may have to take a peek at them and make sure that we're the big thing is just, trying to beat your group. If you can beat your group, we should be in good shape. So
once again, the teams that'll be out here besides Goodland will be Colby, Holcomb, Southwestern Heights, Cimarron, Lakin, Norton, Russell, Victoria, as just and Scott City. And I'll tell you the one thing, there's a lot of great individual golfers at a lot of these teams, whether it's Jackson Rumford at Scott City or Eli Jones at Norton or Luke Tyne, I think is his name, over at Holcomb. And let's see, of course, Caleb Dixon over at Colby. There's a lot of good individual golfers.
Noah Garcia from Lakin.
There are some good ones. A lot. I mean, like I said, the team up and down, which that's where the Cowboys maybe have the strength. Maybe they don't have the ultimate elite golfer, but better the strength in numbers, where these other schools have got some elite number ones that can really go out and shoot low scores.
Yeah. It should be a fun day. So we just got to remember one shot at a time and try not to compile our mistakes.
Well, and the weather should be nice too.
Well, hopefully.
I don't know. I guess I even looked ahead. I think it's supposed to be nice. It's going to be 40-mile-an-hour wind. That'll change it, of course.
Well, I'm kind of hoping for a south wind. So that's what we've been playing in. That's what we're ready for.
Breezy and 69. Breeze. So maybe that wind, I don't know what direction, but we'll see. You're going to maybe get that wind in some direction.
Yep.
We'll see how that
right?
ends up. Who you got winning the PGA?
Oh, man.
We're a day in. Have you followed it much at all?
I peeked at the leaderboard yesterday, and I didn't really look at it too hard. My pick was out, looked like pretty early. So, and Rory McIlroy, he's kind of my favorite. He's kind of a dog right now at this point, but it looked like he was out early. Scotty Scheffler, he's still not far behind.
2 under par. He's 5 behind at this point, or it was last night at the end of it all. So
yeah, he's proved one of those guys that he can come back and be in contention early on and moving day on Saturday. So
yeah, a board that most people probably won't know: Ryan Gerard, Cam Davis, Johnny Vegas. People I think know about Johnny Vegas. He leads it at 7 under par right now, but those are the top 3 guys at this point in time. Yeah, it was not a good day for big names.
No, it wasn't.
Scheffler, like I said, Scheffler probably the best at -2. DeChambeau's there at -1. But yeah, like you mentioned, I mean, for like Jordan Spieth, who's trying to complete the Grand Slam himself, he had a horrible.
He's got a tough road ahead of him. So.
I know Justin Thomas, I think, was kind of a hot pick. He had a bad day. It was not good. I tell you, the thing that stood out to me the most about that course there at Quail Hollow was the rough. Did you happen to see the videos where the people went out there? Check this out. The guy's got a handful of golf balls. Throw one over there. Throw one over here. And he's all standing there. They're all gone.
Yeah.
You can't see him.
Yeah, now go find him. Yeah.
Don't you wish you were playing? You had those guys that had the flags down the course. I just always think about it like I would shoot better if I had a flag band down there. Hey, your ball's right over here.
Yeah, I've always thought that too.
Tyler Jones, Goodland High School boys assistant golf coach here in studio. Tyler, thank you so much for joining us today. Really appreciate it. Best of luck on Monday to you and the guys. All right.
Thanks, Roscoe Cowboys.
Once again, great stuff there from Tyler Jones joining us here in studio. We'll take a time out. We come back. Baseball is the topic next. Regionals get underway today, and also a lot of postseason awards handed out to a lot of area regional athletes. We'll get to that next. You're listening to the Morning Blitz here on a Friday.
At FNB Bank, we understand the backbone of our community is our local farmers and ranchers. Whether you're growing crops, raising livestock, or investing in new equipment, we're here to help you succeed. Our agricultural loans are tailored to meet the unique needs of your farm with flexible terms from people who understand what it takes to make it in agriculture. When you partner with FNB Bank, you're working with neighbors who know the land and are invested in your success. FNB Bank, rooted in our community, growing with you. Member FDIC.
It's time for a check of the markets with the Anderson Trade Group on the Kansas Farm and Ranch Radio Network.
Good morning. This is Kate Thompson with the Anderson Trade Group. Today is Friday, May 16th. On the overnight last night, July corn higher 2 cents at 4.50 1/2. September down a half cent at 4.24 1/2. December down 3/4 at 4.38. March down a quarter cent at 4.53 1/4. July 30 down 1 3/4 at 10.49 1/2. August down 2 3/4 at 10.44 1/2. September down 4 at 10.25 1/2. November beans down 3 1/4 at 10.32. Chicago wheat, the July contract lower half cent at 5.32 1/4. September down a quarter at 5.46 1/4. December down 3/4 at 5.67 1/4. March down a cent at 5.86. Kansas City wheat, July contract higher 1 1/4 on the overnight at 5.29 1/2. September up 3/4 at 5.42 3/4. December down 3/4 at 5.63 3/4. March hard wheat up 3/4 cents at 5.84 1/2. On the stock market this morning, the Dow up $119 at 42,504. The S&P up 13 at 5,947. The Nasdaq up 42 at 21,442. Gold lower $45 an ounce at 3,181. Crude oil up 43 cents a barrel at $62.04. If you have any questions about marketing grain or would like to talk about risk management options, give our Colorado office a call. John Hankey or John Stiles at 970-744-4484. Or in our Kansas City office, myself, Tom Saluto, Jared Law, or Tyler Ghosh at 913-748-3000.
The Anderson Trade Group, proud market partners with Kansas Farm and Ranch Radio. Find out more at andersongrain.com. The risk of loss through trading futures and or options is substantial, and each investor and or trader must consider whether this is a suitable investment. Past performance, whether actual or indicated, is not indicative of future results. The Anderson Trade Group has no guarantee that the advice given will result in profitable trades.
Kansas Corn reminds you that E15 fuel is the right choice for every kind of driver. For the car enthusiast, E15 has higher octane. For the thrifty driver, E15 is priced lower than regular unleaded. For the nature lover, E15 provides cleaner air. For the shopper who buys local, E15 has more ethanol from our Kansas corn farms. Choose E15 for a higher octane, lower price, and cleaner American fuel. This message from the Kansas Corn Commission. Learn more at kscorn.com.
Imagine having more days of perfect weather, a combine that's more powerful, or even more soybean bushels per acre at harvest. With Revitec fungicide, you don't have to imagine that last one, because it's proven to deliver up to 9.5 more soybean bushels per acre than the competition. With results like that, it's easy to see why Revitec fungicide is the #1 recommended fungicide by soybean farmers. Visit Revitec.com and talk to your BASF retailer today. Always read and follow label directions.
The only way to start your day.
I don't know how to put this, but I'm kind of a big deal.
With Ross Volkmer in the Morning Blitz.
Big shout out and thank you to Tyler Jones for taking time out of his schedule to join us and talk a little Goodland Cowboy and regional golf. Once again, regionals get going on Monday morning. from Sugar Hills Golf Course in Goodland. Look forward to seeing how not only the Cowboys do, but other area golfers, like I mentioned. A lot of great individuals, particularly, will be at this regional. So if you like to see some really good, high-quality high school golf, come out to Goodland on a Monday and see that for sure. It'll be a great day to go check that out. Very busy day in Goodland on Monday, actually, because not only, of course, is regionals going on there, but, of course, there is regional softball happening as well. 3 games on Monday of regional softball over at Ray Dye Field there in Goodland. So should be a really fun Monday if you love sports. There might not be a lot of work getting done for those sports fans. So like I said, golf and softball all going on Monday. There's high school baseball getting going today. We'll get to that in just a matter of moments. And we will get to that here in just a little bit. But I want to actually get to the postseason honors. The postseason honors are out for the All Jayhawk West. So the all KJCCC Baseball West Division honors are out. And boy, there was a ton, and I do mean a ton, of local flavor in it. First and foremost, with the 4 most important things: MVP, Pitcher of the Year, Freshman of the Year, and Coach of the Year. Colby Community College had a amazing bounce-back season. Ryan Carter wins Coach of the Year. The Trojans were picked to finish 7th in the West after winning just 28 total games the previous 2 years combined. Goes out there and leads Colby to a 4th place finish in the division, and maybe even could have been a 3rd place finish if a couple things could have gone their way. Had just an amazing April, struggled in May, had an amazing March, struggled in April, but 17-15 in league play, a 7-win improvement in conference year over year, and got to not only make the postseason, but host a playoff series. Unfortunately, we're knocked out by Fort Scott for taking game 1. And once again, I think it kind of proved the Trojans' depth and a little bit hurt there. And also, of course, some struggles with the defense at times. But as a team, Colby hit .316, had a .421 on base percentage, and was the only Jayhawk West Division team to finish higher in the standings than where they were picked in the preseason. So our good friend of the program, skipper Ryan Carter, Coach of the Year in the Jayhawk Conference after a big turnaround season for his Trojans. After that, Colby had the most valuable player, Isaiah Padilla, led the West Division in batting average at a monster .458, tied for the West Division lead in homers with 17, and ranked 2nd in the division in RBIs after appearing in 49 games for the Trojans this past season. Of his 77 hits, 34 went for extra bases, a league-leading .552 on base percentage, and a monster .859 slugging percentage. And then they went in conference play, they were even higher, a .632 on base percentage, and over 1,000, 1.022 in slugging for Isaiah Padilla. And so a young man that's been mentioned on the show before by Coach Carter wins the MVP, does Isaiah Padilla. And I forget where he said he's going. He's going somewhere, I thought somewhere pretty decent in the college baseball ranks, but I forgot where that was. I know I mentioned it on our show, but I forgot. He is going to go play ball at the next level at is it like Texas State or something like that? Maybe is where he's going. Anyway, also for Colby, the Freshman of the Year, Turner Zadunich, a guy we've talked about before in this program as well. Coach Carter even said on this show in previous weeks, he deserves to be, if not an all-league player, a Freshman of the Year caliber type of guy. He was unbelievable. He's a two-way guy. He got this, though, for his batting punch that he provided. He had the best batting average in the West at .407, or one of the best fifth best batting average at .407, and a .470 on base percentage. He had 57 RBIs at the plate. And, of course, he was on the mound as well. He struck out 39 batters in 36 2/3 innings while picking up 3 pitching victories and 2 saves. He was kind of a do-it-all guy, whether they need him in the back end of the rotation or in the starting rotation or even in the back end of the bullpen, that he was anywhere for Turner Zadunich. And so he wins Freshman of the Year. So the Trojans bring home Coach of the Year, MVP, and Freshman of the Year. And then, of course, to continue with the run of local ties, the Pitcher of the Year, and probably could have also been Freshman of the Year, former Goodland Cowboy, now Cloud County T-Bird, Cole Linton, wins Pitcher of the Year in the Jayhawk West. helped lead them to a second-place finish in the West Division. Unbelievable outings, went 4-1 in conference play in 8 appearances, had 37 strikeouts in 48 innings in the Jayhawk. And at home this season, they're in Cloud. Linton posted a 5-1 record in 7 outings with a walk hits innings pitched of .85, which is microscopic. He also had 3 complete games, which led the Jayhawk West Division. Look, I knew Cole Linton was having a good year. I didn't know he's having that good of a year. I mean, Cole Linton is one of those pitchers that and players that I look at and I'm like, you give him a year or two at this level, and who knows, maybe he's going to get I know he wants to go play Division I baseball. I know that's his goal. And more than likely high Division I baseball. If he could go play, for Pete Hughes at Kansas State, he would probably take it in a heartbeat, knowing what I know. And if he continues on this trend that he's on, winning pitcher of the year, I think the big thing will be, upping his velocity, getting a little bit more speed behind some of his pitches. I know he can throw in the low 90s. I know colleges now would love to see guys in the mid to upper 90s, which I'm sure he's working on that right now as we speak. But the thing that stands out to me, particularly about Cole Linton, is not just how he goes there and he has great success in his first year, but this is the type of guy, if you're a Division I coach and you go visit with him and his family, and you're going to sit back and this is a guy we got to have in our clubhouse. I mean, this is a guy we want to have because he's not only a great baseball player, but a even better human being. And that's the type of guy you want to have in your clubhouse. And so to see Cole Linton win pitcher of the year, could have probably won freshman of the year. It's probably a toss between him and Turner Zadunich. Congratulations to Cole Linton. That's awesome to see. Really, really cool. That he wins a pitcher of the year in the Jayhawk West. And congratulations to Colby Community College Trojan baseball program. A bounce back year for the ages and to almost sweep the postseason honors with a MVP, freshman of the year, and coach of the year. Really, really cool to see. So a lot of, usually you pull up those articles and usually you'll see, there's a guy from Hutch and a guy from, Barton and a guy from, Dodge. You don't ever, but to pull it up and you see 3 Trojan hats and Cole Linton, you're like, boy, there's a lot of local right there. And that's pretty cool to see. Really, really cool to see. I also love just a side story about Coach Carter, because we were sitting there. This was back when Cole Linton was in high school pitching. And Coach Carter comes up to me and he goes, do you think there's any way you could talk to Cole Linton and see if we could get him to come here? That would really appreciate it. I said, I can't do that, Coach, but it was pretty funny. He's like, if you can find a way to get that lit kid to come here, I would really appreciate it. That was just a funny conversation that we had kind of in jest a few years ago. I think when Cole's probably a sophomore or a junior, he brought that up. I thought that was funny. And then seeing that story with those 2 guys in the same picture, I thought of that story once again. So those were the 4 major winners. There were still plenty of other guys that got recognition. Of course, Isaiah Padilla was the first team shortstop. Turner Zadunich was a first team outfielder as a freshman. Second team starting pitcher, Matthew McKenzie, the redshirt sophomore for Colby. He was a second team selection, getting honor. And then honorable mention, Gavin Galenza at first base was an honorable mention player. So was Tyler Smith, starting pitcher for the Trojans. And then, of course, Turner Zadunich, a honorable mention relief pitcher for Colby. So Colby gets, once again, I think it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. They get 5 guys mentioned for 6 spots, 2 first teamers, 1 second teamer, and 3 honorable mentions. And Cole Linton, by the way, once again, not only being pitcher of the year, was was a first team selection as well there for Cloud County. So pretty cool. Lots of as I said, the Jayhawk West postseason awards and the first and second team littered with regional and local athletes, which is pretty cool. Pretty darn cool to see. All right, let's change gears and switch into postseason baseball here. Tonight gets going in across the state. Oh, I don't know if I'd say across the state, but at least in the neck of the woods that we care about here, as regional baseball gets underway for the Colby Regional, which is where Goodland and Colby will be playing should they win in their first round games. Colby will be at home today. They are the 2 seed at 15-5. They will host Scott City at 10-10, who is the 7 seed. That is a 5 o'clock Central Time first pitch from Young Memorial Field in Colby. This is an interesting series, first and foremost, because Colby was swept by Scott City. It was the only GWAC series that they did not win a game in. And so they were swept by Scott City down in Scott in a couple of confusing games, to be honest with you. In game 2, Colby just got rattled, and in game 1, or just got beat up. I mean, the pitching just got beat up. Got blown out in game 2. But game number 1, they had the lead, and then Scott City came back late and stole it at the end in extras. Or I don't know if it's extras, but it's the bottom of the 7th or 8th that they got it done. And so Colby's out for some blood, out for some revenge. I feel good about them. I mean, they're not going to overlook this game, obviously, and that's probably the best thing. That's probably the best thing about it, is that losing that series earlier has got them looking at this, even though they're a 2-7 match, like, we need to be really focused because this Scott City team has beat us. And I'm sure Todd Kane, head coach for the Eagles, has been talking about that all week. We can't be overlooking these guys, looking ahead to possibly Lakin or Southwestern Heights, whoever wins the other game on the opposite side of this bracket. We can't be focused on that. We got to focus on Scott City because they beat us already once, and I'm sure they're using that talking point a lot. And I feel good about Colby advancing into the next round. So that's going to be a first pitch time, 5 o'clock Central Time. You got to think you would expect. It's always interesting, though, now, how do you do your starting pitching? Because you have the pitch counts, you got to go to certain numbers so that you have guys available to throw and have multiple guys to throw on what is Tuesday, the 20th. So you throw today, you get Saturday, Sunday, and Monday, 3 days rest. And then you got to have all your staff ready to go by Tuesday. So you kind of have to play that pitch count game a little bit, but not as bad as it used to be, honestly. But you got to play that game a little bit. I would expect to see Braxton Withington out there throwing, and it's a guy who threw a no-hitter against Holcomb. So we'll see how it all shakes out for Colby. But they've got a big game today against Scott City, 5 o'clock Central Time there in Colby. Goodland Cowboys will be on the road. It's deja vu, to be honest with you. The Goodland Cowboys finished as the 8th seed last year with a 3-win season. This year, they have a 6-win improvement over that to get to 9-11, but they are still the 8th seed, and they will still have to go to the top seed, Holcomb, where they went last year. And the Cowboys lost 1-0 to the Longhorns a season ago. Cole Linton pitched great, but the Cowboys could not get any timely hits, and they end up losing to Holcomb 1-0. And the Cowboys this year, earlier in Goodland, back at the end of April, pushed Holcomb to the brink. Lost 2-1 in 8 innings, and also lost 6-0 in 7 innings in a series to the Longhorns. In a series that they probably should have taken. That first game, had a wild pitch get by and allowed a run to come in to score to tie the game, to send it to extras, and then they end up losing in extra innings. And in game number 2, Cowboys just didn't have any offensive firepower to keep up with Holcomb in a 6-0 loss, despite pretty good defense and pitching in game number 2. So this is, to me, I look at this game and Holcomb has had a great year, but I expect this game to be once again another close one. Goodland knows that there's no tomorrow unless they win today. And so you got to expect they're going to go out and throw Case and Cedarstrom. And when you throw Case and Cedarstrom, you always have a chance to win because they're more than likely going to keep that score total down. And that's what the Cowboys have to hope for. The Cowboys are not going to win a game that, probably the opposition scores more than 6, 7, 8 runs. They're probably not going to do that. Their offense is not built to have a whole bunch of runs scored, particularly against solid pitching like Holcomb has. So this is going to have to be a low scoring game if the Cowboys are going to have a chance at winning it. Simple as that. So I would expect this to be a low scoring game, a real pitcher's duel between him and Holcomb. Probably is going to throw, Ethan Zapata and follow that up with Keegan Johnson to kind of close things out. This game will come down to, from the Goodland perspective, playing good defense behind Case and Cedarstrom. He'll strike out some guys, but he will also give up some hits. And so can you give up some contact? So the question is, can you play good defense behind him, limit those errors? That's going to be a big key today for the Cowboys. And probably the biggest key, as it always is, in my opinion, for Goodland Cowboy baseball, can you get timely hits? Can you get the hits that matter? You're going to get on base. You get hit by a pitch. You might get walked. Heck, you might get a little seeing eye single that makes it through the infield. You might get a leadoff double or something like that. But can the next guys behind you drive that guy in? That's always been the biggest issue for Goodland Cowboy baseball, particularly against the really good teams. Can you drive in runners when they are in scoring position? because Holcomb's probably not going to go up there and walk 4 consecutive batters to let a run come in. It's just not going to happen. But Cowboys have their hands full, but it's not an impossible task. It really isn't. I'm not going to sit here and say on Monday, come back and say, well, Goodland upset Holcomb. There's a shocker. Not really. Not really. They've got a really good pitcher. If they can play, excuse me, if they can play good defense behind him and get some timely hits, they can knock off Holcomb. It'll be a tough task, but I'm not going to say it's impossible. Baseball, especially this time of year, is a funny thing because if you just have if you get some timely hits and a decent pitching and defensive performance, you can beat anybody. But that all stuff has to come together because you get to this time of year and everyone's focused and cranked down. And the further deeper you get in the postseason, the more the teams are, the more teams, there are more and more teams consistently that are going to not only pitch well and play good defense, but also have the hitting to go through. So we'll see. Big series tonight, 5 Central, 4 Mountain Time. We will have pregame starting at around, probably a little after 3:30 Mountain Time, getting you set for Goodland and Holcomb here on Goodland's Rocket 1025 as the Cowboys look to pull the upset of the Longhorns and get revenge from last year's season-ending loss to the Longhorns 1-0. All right, 7:52 here in the Mountain Time Zone, 8:52 Central Time on a Friday, May the 16th. We will take a timeout when we come back. We'll wrap up the show, I should say, with some thoughts on the Nuggets win last night and some baseball and other stuff, and get out of here with the walk-off. It's all next. You're listening to The Morning Blitz.
Spring is in full swing at Hoover Lumber Ace Hardware. Get your lawn and garden looking their best with Ultimate Fertilizer and gear up with Eco blowers and mowers for the season ahead. Tackling a project, they've got a surplus of quality lumber ready for all your building needs. And when the work's done, fire up the fun with their wide selection of grills, smokers, and griddles from Traeger, Weber, and Blackstone. Stop by Hoover Lumber Ace Hardware in Goodland and Colby, your one-stop shop for spring projects, big and small.
To the Goodland High School class of 2025, you did it. 4 years of late nights, early mornings, and countless memories have brought you to this moment. You've grown, you've learned, and you've left your mark on Cowboy Nation. As you step into what's next, take pride in where you come from and know that Goodland is always cheering you on. This tribute is made possible by these proud local sponsors.
S&M Recovery and Towing, Land to Legacy Real Estate, Cornerstone Orthodontics, Dan Brenner Ford, and Coons Russell Funeral Home.
Congratulations, class of 2025.
If you're shopping for a banking institution, visit with Equity Bank of Hoxie, Grinnell, and Quinter, Kansas. The Equity Bank is heavily invested in local business and activities contributing in many ways back to their community. Their employees are involved with many organizations and area events. Plus, a lot of experience comes with that staff. You'll find valuable local assistance when you bank at the Equity Bank of Hoxie, Grinnell, Quinter, and other locations in Western Kansas. The Equity Bank, member FDIC.
Looking for insurance that actually puts you first? At the insurance agency in downtown Goodland, we're independent, which means we work for you. Whether it's auto, home, crop, or business, we shop top carriers to get you the best coverage at the best price. No pushy sales, just honest advice from people who live right here in your community. Give us a call today at 785-899-5011 or stop by 1020 Main in Goodland and let's get you covered. The insurance agency. Insurance the way it should be.
You're tuned in to the Morning Blitz with Ross Volkmer.
That broadcast school has really paid off.
So before I forget to bring this up here, so you heard Raleigh on the Good Neighbor Hour, if you're tuned in, talking about Let Your Light Shine and their event going on here this weekend. Decided to do something for that here. So if there are auction items to bid on for that event, and one of those could be if you want to join me on the Morning Blitz. So if you'd like to do that, there is an auction. You can go bid on that tomorrow. Bid on those items as well. You could be a co-host with me on the Morning Blitz for a day. So if you desire to sit in this studio with me and talk sports, you can bid on that with the Let Your Light Shine auction. So something that they've never had. I've been told, which I doubt it. Who with my wife and I were thinking about, like, well, you could do that, which I guess we could if anybody wants to sit with that crazy guy in the studio. But so if you want to do that, you can go bid on that at the Let Your Light Shine deal going on to this weekend. Well, baseball real quickly. Last night, by the way, college baseball. Remember, it's getting down to the nitty gritty. It's the final series of the regular season. You have Dom Vogel pitch a 7-inning 6-hitter and a shutout, and him with Alex Breckenheimer shut out West Virginia. They pick up a huge win. That's going to be coming up a huge win over 16th ranked West Virginia for the Kansas Jayhawks. So they get a shutout win 3-0. K-State falls 7-4. Cincinnati, Nebraska, by the way, down 8-0, comes back and wins 11-8 over Purdue. Gosh, what a season for Nebraska baseball. It makes me sick. Johnny, the way in the PGA Championship right now, Johnny Vegas drops a shot. He's now 6 under at this point in time through a couple of holes, and they've made the course challenging enough to where there's people balking and complaining, post round, all that stuff. I heard the big guys talking about it too. Let's see what else we need to get to. Nuggets win last night in the NBA playoffs. They force a game 7. Jamal Murray was ill. I shouldn't say he was ill, I think. But they're able to get it done. 119-107, the victory. I said before, if the Nuggets are going to win, they have to get more production out of other guys not named Jokic or Murray. Well, they did. Kansas's own Christian Brown stepped up. He had 23 points and 11 rebounds. And they also, and that was a good performance, but probably the bigger surprise was the play of Julian Strother off the bench. 3 of 4 from 3, 4 of 8 from the field, 15 points. Those two guys, Bront and Strother, to me, were the difference in winning that game. And this, once again, I go back to that conversation we had yesterday about the Knicks and the Celtics. How motivated were the Thunder knowing that they could go back for a game 7 and win that and win the series, let Denver kind of tire themselves out for playing as hard as they can. You look at this game, Denver was up 3, then they were down by 3 at halftime. And then they came out in the second half and Denver had a huge third quarter and then just kind of held on there in the fourth. I kind of question if they do it. They blew it the last time. That game 7 is going to be epic. I just wonder if Oklahoma State's like, we'll sit back. It's all right. We lost this game. We'll be fully rested and fully motivated to win it in 7. We'll see. I don't know. It's going to be very interesting. Nuggets and Oklahoma City Thunder play on Sunday. That ought to be a very, very entertaining basketball game. We'll see who ends up winning that one here on Sunday. So before we get to the walk-off, do not want to forget about some track and field yesterday. Congratulations to Quinter boys and girls. They are your Northwest Kansas League track champions. Again, they do it a lot. They have got a dominant track program there. Wheatland Grinnell girls, Weskin boys, your Western Kansas Liberty League track and field champions. Golden Plains with a very solid day, though. They finished in 2nd place in both the boys and girls standings. And then at the GWAC here in Goodland, boy, had a beautiful evening. I mean, just a gorgeous evening for track and field in Goodland. I thought it was. Goodland and Colby, solid showings, but neither took home a track and field championship. Colby girls had the best showing of all. They finished in a distant 2nd behind Cimarron in the girls' standings. Goodland came in 6th, although I think Marie Martin did win the girls' pole vault. Goodland boys finished 3rd, scoring 83 points. That was just 1 point better than Colby. 1 point better than Colby. Lincoln Cure set a new PR in the 300 hurdles I saw yesterday, which was pretty exciting for him. But Holcomb took home the boys' championship. No surprise there. They seem to do it almost every year. So there you go. Once again, Holcomb boys and Cimarron girls, your GWAC League champs yesterday there. And one other, we talked about regional baseball today. Quarterfinals getting underway. Also today is Northwest Kansas League golf. That is hosted by Greeley County down there in Tribune. Talk about the PGA Championship real quickly here. Johnny Vegas, we talked about Johnny Vegas leading the way, and it was a tough day for the red golfers. How about they call it the Green Mile? It's the final 3 holes. The field went a combined plus 171 on the Green Mile. The field went a combined plus 171 on holes 16 through 18. Ridiculous stat. That is for sure. All right. We got to get to the walk-off.
And back lifts his ball high, deep to right. How about a walk-off Gray? Thomas to the 10. Denver's going on to New England. They win it on the first play of overtime. Mahomes swings it. It's there. Hardman. Jackpot. Kansas City.
No baseball to talk about on the professional level from last night. Both the Royals and the Rockies had days off. The Royals back home to host Game 1 of the I-70 series as the Cardinals are in town here this weekend. 6:40 Central Time, first pitch. You've got Cole Reagans on the bump against Andre Plantain. Plante? I don't even know how to say that guy's name. Nonetheless, Cole Reagans the mound for the Royals. Listen on AM 790 KXXX. And the Rockies on the road at my Arizona Diamondbacks. 7:40 Mountain Time, first pitch on AM 730 KLE. Gosh, Lord, please don't let the Rockies win their first series of the year against my team. It'll never let me down. Please do not let this happen. Hopefully the Diamondbacks get a sweep. It should be 3 easy wins. That's how every team should look at the guys in purple. Hey, we got the Rockies coming up. 3 wins. What a deal. Or 4 if it's a 4-game series. Should be that way. We'll see. For some reason, I got a bad feeling. Diamondbacks Rockies this weekend on AM 730 KLOE. And of course, Nuggets Thunder Game 7 on Sunday. And of course, PGA Championship all weekend long. Okay, I think I got everything. Yeah, I got to everything. Before we get out of here, though, shout out to Lindsay Cure, Goodland High School alum. And once again, we talked about her and her great season that she's having throwing the javelin for Regis in their first year of a track program. And anyway, she's been so good. She's going to the D2 Track and Field Nationals happening next weekend in Pueblo, Colorado. So congratulations, Lindsay. Continue to show. I ran into her. She was at a kids track meet, I think, this past weekend here in Goodland. I mean, she is a specimen. I mean, you look at her like, yeah, that girl can do some stuff. The girl is a specimen. There's no doubt about it. All right, that'll do it for our program. Don't forget to catch Goodland Cowboy Baseball tonight, starting at 3:30 Mountain Time with Goodland Game Day, presented by the insurance agent. Get you set for Cowboys and Longhorns in a single elimination game. We'll see you then. Have a great weekend. It's been the Blitz.
Rockin' 102.5 is KKCI Goodland, Colby.